I quit my job at 38 years old, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some stories of my journey going through this rat race and my thought process through it. Well, from a young age, I wanted to be a teacher. There was no doubt about it. I had the spirit of teaching people, and I loved my teachers. I looked up to every single one of them, and I was so grateful for them. Even to this day, I am thankful for all the teachers who teach my children in the schools. I thought from a young age, if I was a teacher, I would be so happy. Life would be my dream. While I studied and worked hard, I had to take the appropriate tests for the credential, and I became a fully licensed credentialed teacher in California. Well, at the time, I couldn't find a job. I remember looking for jobs and applying to over 110 jobs through EdJoin. I was putting in all these applications to the schools that I saw were hiring or if there were any vacancies. At the time, teachers who had 4 to 5 years of experience were getting pink slipped, and that means they were getting laid off. So as a newly credentialed teacher, I had no chance. I just remember thinking, wow, I am buried in student loans. I had taken out in excess of $30,000 of student loans. I had signed paperwork specifically promising to repay these student loans through these loan forgiveness programs and grants, but I had to teach at low income schools. And so there you go. That was my motivator for how I got into the rat race. My first year of teaching was in the state of Idaho. I had to go out of state at the time because I couldn't find a job in California where my parents, where my husband, and all of our family lived at the time. And so I was looking outside of California. Long story short, I was hired at a high school in Buell, Idaho. There were more cows than people, it seemed, but I knew I had to teach because I had a mounting amount of student loans I had to repay. I had to make sure that the schools I was teaching at for the first 5 years were in low-income schools so I could be approved for student loan forgiveness. That first year of teaching really challenged me. My husband and I had a long distance marriage. We had a 7-month-old at the time. I took him with me. I dropped him off at daycare every morning between 6 to 7 a.m. I taught all day long and then picked him up at around 5 p.m. And so by the time we got home, I was racing to feed him dinner, get him in the bath, and putting us to sleep. It was an endless cycle, to say the least. That whole school year was an endless cycle. It was a hamster wheel. Partly because it was my first year teaching, and those of you who are teachers, you know that first year is rough. I didn't have anything but my textbooks to rely on to help me learn how to teach. That was my first year in the rat race. I thought, well, this is the dream. I dreamed of being a teacher, and yet I was unfulfilled. I thought if I moved back to California, I could reunite with my husband. I'll have my parents, my sister, all of our family around. It will be so great. Not to mention, my salary will double, so I'll be so happy with that extra money. I did find a job and it paid $48,000, and my original job in Idaho paid $20,000. So it was more than double what I had earned. And I thought, I'm going to be so happy at this new job. Well, I moved back. My husband and I got an apartment. We felt liberated. We were living together now as a couple again, and we were a family unit. And so there were 3 of us instead of just me and my son living in Idaho. And I had family around, so that was a nice change. However, a few weeks into my job, I did not like the commute at all. If you live in California, you know the traffic is awful. And at the time, I was sitting in traffic for an hour to get to work and an hour to get home. Traffic causes a different type of mental drain. My husband and I were living in an apartment at the time, and we thought, you know what, we're going to be so happy if we could just buy something. So we did. We bought a small condo. It was a 2-bedroom condo, and we were thrilled. You know that excitement when you reach a goal and you just feel like you're on top of the world? That's how we felt moving into this condo. And we thought, oh my gosh, we own a piece of property. It's been a lifetime dream of mine at the time. And we did. We moved into this condo and it was nice. It was great. But then we wanted more space because we had a second child. And so we went shopping for our next house. Now, this started the cycle. And I'm sharing this with you because you might be in that cycle right now. This started the cycle, the never ending cycle of if I could just have this, I'll be happy. At the time, that was a lot. That was a big part of our salary putting into a mortgage. So, this house that we purchased was our dream house. It had the space we needed and the views of the city. It had a pool, a hot tub. It had beautiful things. It was a beautiful house with great bones. If I earned a little bit more, then I can just pay it toward a home that I would be happy in. While we were living in this executive home, we thought we need a car to match this home, this level of home. So my husband and I went shopping for a brand new Ford F-150. And at the time, we sold off a home that we were renting out, and we had some money set aside. So we did go and buy him a truck cash. Living in that house was a dream come true because we always dreamed of living in an executive neighborhood. People want the nice cars, the nice home, the nice everything, right? So we thought, okay, if we could just live in this neighborhood, we'll be happy. After living in that home for a few months, I would say about a year, we thought, man, the paint is falling off the cabinets. The previous owners had painted the cabinets, and although the color was nice, it was like a cream color, the paint was starting to fall off. And so we thought we need a new kitchen. Our flooring was starting to fall apart, so we need new floors. The lining of the pool started peeling, so we needed to get that redone. The landscaping needed some work, so we needed to redo that. The sun was hitting our back living room up so much that it was always so much warmer in that room than every other room in the entire house. So we needed special shading for that. I mean, the list was endless. We needed new paint for our walls because we weren't happy with the wall colors. And some things in the bathrooms needed to change, like the sink. We started this progression of fixing things up in the house. We ended up replacing the entire kitchen with brand new cabinets and brand new flooring. Our walls were painted one cohesive color. We put in a pergola to shade our back living room. We redid the pool and the hot tub to make it more enjoyable without all that peeling. And we redid the landscaping. We put in some fake grass in the backyard for our dog to relax and hang out. I mean, we were spending a lot of money trying to redo this house to make it so it would be a place where we could just relax at the end of the day after a long day of work, being able to unwind in this paradise that we created. And while that was exciting and fun to enjoy that space, we quickly became unfulfilled. I even thought if I just put in a grand piano right over here in this space, I will be so happy. And I did. I ended up putting a grand piano right there in that space. All these things that we thought would make us happy and fulfilled didn't actually make us happy. It was nice to have that space. It was nice to invite people over and host many events in this space. But I didn't think that my relationship with my kids got stronger. And that was one thing that really, truly mattered to me. That relationship I had with my own children, and to be with our kids and to be their support, to make sure they were fed good meals, to make sure that they had experiences that they would never forget and conversations that they would never forget. So that essentially became my focus after 12 years in the rat race. The things that I worked hard for, as in trading my time for money and that money paying for things, those things didn't matter at the end of the day. The new shiny objects were new and shiny for a moment. But my relationship with my kids, that lasts for a lifetime. And I needed to refocus and reshift some of the things in my life to get to that point.